Alright, it's Sunday, September 29. Took care of my errands for the day and made 2 trips to Lowe's because I forgot what I needed. So I'm back here at the bus and I thought I would try taking this piece of board that's for the forward side of this front door and put it up against the bus and see if I could use this piece as a template. And I can't. It's about, I don't know, 5/16 of a difference. More bow on this side than on the forward side. So that was just a thought. So we went and bought some insulation today. I thought I was going to be using the same stuff that I already bought, that blue stuff. It's called 1/2 inch, but when I went to go check it out, yeah, I'll show you. It was, it's actually almost 9/16 of an inch, and I need it to be half because I need something that's going to make up this much, which is 1.5 inches, so I can use 3 layers of that stuff. And I'll have 1.5 inches. I did look at what they have there, 1.5 inch insulation, and it was just styrofoam, and it didn't have that high of a R rating compared to 3 layers of this. So I'll get more insulation out of this, and I think this was cheaper. I don't know if it wasn't. It was only within a couple dollars, and I gave back the 2 sheets of 1/4 inch plywood that I had, and I got this Wonder Board, whatever they call it. And I was shopping for Luan, but that stuff looks like Luan. So the reason why I got it is it's a nice finish. Yes, it's not for exterior, but it's going to be on the inside of the door. But it's 3/16 of an inch. So here's the thing. This is 3/16 of an inch. I'm going to have 1/16 of an inch of aluminum on the outside of the door. That makes a 1/4 inch. This is 1.5 inches. Add the 1/4, that's 1 3/4 inches. And that's the inside dimension of 2-inch aluminum channel, architectural channel. And that is what I'm going to use around the perimeter of the door. It's going to be a great door. I sound like Donald Trump. It's a great door. It's going to be a great door. The door is going to be great. Anyway, so I got the materials I need here except for the aluminum channel and the aluminum sheet. The place where I get that material is out in Fort Lauderdale, and they're not open on the weekends, so that's another day. So the glue is dry on our piece of 1x red oak. That's going to be the left side of my door jamb. And I was just checking. I'm going to need 5 1/4. Actually, the widest part of this is 5 1/4, right? This is where I goofed up the other day. See how it gets smaller? There's 5 5 5/16. 5 5/16. Okay. 5 5/16. So I come over here and look at my sins. Let me switch sides so we're not backlit. I'm going to need 5 5/16. I need to be able to do it. Yeah. So if I cut both sides of this board, I can get 5 5/16. I'll have to trim off about 1/4 or so from the right side so I can trim this side, and then I'll be able to use this as my door jamb. Saturday, October 5, we have all the materials to build our door. I've got a 4x8 sheet of 1/16 of an inch thick aluminum for the outside. I have one sheet of 3/16, I forget what kind of board it is, plywood. It's not Luan, it's some other thing. And I've got my wood I'm going to use for the frame. I've got 1x4, two 1x4s, oak boards for the hinge sides for extra strength. And then I have clear pine 1x4s for the top and the bottom and the doorknob side. I've got this 2" by 1" channel, that's going to be my edging. The inside diameter of this is 1 3/4 inches. And if you add up 1 3/4 inches twice, that's 1.5 inches. And then 3/16 and 1/16, that's another 1/4. That gives you 1 3/4 inches. And theoretically, that all should fit in here. It's a little tight. I did test fit the other day. I'm going to have to take off about a 32nd or maybe a 1/16 of an inch off one of these boards, which won't be too bad. I'll just rip it down the table saw, I'm thinking anyway. That's the plan. I've got my 1x6 oak board I'm going to use for my door jamb, and I got two more 1x4 oak boards that are going to be for the door jamb. Now, I'll tell you what all that's going to be. Come out here to the bus. Hakuna Matata, baby. Let me take a hit of my tea here, get it dry. Lemon ginger. So, I've already got my piece of aluminum. That's my first step, literally. And that is going on top of this area because it's got those holes in it there I want to cover. Plus, it's a little bit marginal of strength. That original step there was bent down. I had to use a floor jack and a block of wood to bend it back up in place. So that'll reinforce that. And it's also corrosion resistant. So when I install this with a good bead of whatever around the whole perimeter, I'll feel good about the first step being done. I've already got my wood custom fitted to go on top of this. I probably already showed you this in another video. Yeah, I'm sure I did, but I'm a senior citizen, so I got the privilege here. So there it is. It fits right in there. So it's down to about 1/8 of an inch thick on this side, more or less, and the full 3/4 of an inch on this side. And this is 11-degree bevel that I put on it with the table saw. And then I came back with the block plane and I planed this board wherever it needed a little bit extra taken off so that it would fit right into that valley. And of course I got my screw holes. They're all lined up and ready to go. I was going to use this board and I incorrectly cut it twice. There's the first error, there's the second error. Then I realized I can't use this for the door jamb piece like this on the other side because it's got an arc to it, if you could tell, right? Let me put it up against a straight edge so you can see the difference, how much of an arc it is. Okay, it's a little more than 1 inch down there and a little more than 1 inch up there. So the problem I got is I could have used this piece of wood glued back together, but when I cut the arc in it, I'll get into this on either side. There's not enough wood here to do my thing, and so that would leave me with a big old deviation, I don't know what you want to call it, gash looking thing on the edge for an area So I said, you know what, the heck with it. Kind of expensive. I don't know what I'll use this for. I do need a piece across the top. So there's a few feet, right? So anyway, that's why I bought the other 1x6 that's in the floor, on the floor in the living room there. So I'm going to have to trim the bottom of this off about 3/8 of an inch to make room for this aluminum plate on the bottom here. But actually, right now, the mental thing I'm doing right now is trying to figure out, let me put this piece of Delrin over here as just a little gauge. Give me 1 second, folks. All right. So, if I make the door, the door is going to be about that thick. It's 2 inches, right? So if I have the door positioned where the outside edge of the door is flush at the bottom, here and there, right now this aluminum is going to protrude out from the bottom of the door. Now I left it that way when I made that aluminum piece because I wasn't sure what I wanted to do. But I'm beginning to get an idea what I want to do. So the way it is now, if it rains and water, whatever, drips down the door and lands on this, it's going to go underneath it. But if I cut this off to be equal with the bus on both sides, then for argument's sake, the door would be flush with that. And I could put a little drip doodah thing that you can buy to where anything that drips off the end here will go over and not under. Now it won't help me for driving through the rain because that's going to be like a hurricane of stuff blowing in here. The bottom line is I haven't figured out how I want to put the seal at the bottom of the door. I could use a regular threshold type of device here, but then when you're coming off, right, you're going to have to step on that thing every time you take a step on this bottom step here. And I don't like the idea. I think anything that I put on the bottom of the edge of the door that's going to wipe in there is probably going to wipe itself off over time. I know there are some really cool seals that you can buy that you insert up into the bottom edge of the door. You got to make a pretty big recess, a couple inches or so. And there's a mechanism in there that has a plunger that when the door is closed, the plunger gets pushed in from this surface, and when the plunger is pushed in, it lowers the seal down. I think that's kind of cool, but I'm not sold on the idea. So this morning my job is to figure out how I want to do this. How far in do I want to install this door, because I can have the door go anywhere between there and, you know, whatever. I originally planned on the door being right up to the edge at the bottom and right up at the edge, more or less anyway, at the top, and then the bow of this would be visible, you know, in the middle, and then diminish down at the bottom, because, you know, that's all I can do, right? So yeah, that's what we're planning out. Alright, I was just about ready to clamp the aluminum down and drill up from the bottom on these 6 holes and begin installing this, and I realized I have a little bit of a dilemma. I had originally thought that I would caulk this in and just fill this whole area up and seal this really well so water couldn't get down in there. But then I realized this is open here, and it's also open to here. So I've got the potential for some kind of water leak to get into this hollow, and if I don't provide it with a way for the water to drip out, it's going to fill up this area and then be a rust problem. So my first thought is to drill a hole back in there from the bottom and just provide a drain hole. I guess that's probably the best thing to do. Yeah, let me show you what it looks like with this in there. Okay. See, I was gonna fill all that nice and purty and seal it all. And I was looking to see, well, what would I have underneath? And it won't leave me really anything for a way for the water to escape from that area. I guess a hole through the bottom. Looks like there already is a hole in the bottom. Where'd you go? There you are. Right there. Double check. Oh, that's inside that beam. That's behind here. So the beam's got a drain hole, but this pocket back there doesn't. Huh. Interesting. This side doesn't have a drain hole. It's right over here, inside this beam on the other side. So this beam could potentially fill with water, I guess. Alright, so there already is a hole. I don't know if you can see it. It's right there. I'm getting, every once in a while I can see light through it. There it is. See that hole right there? So I just got to make sure I don't plug that hole up, and I'll be good to go. There's my drain hole that I was looking for, or wanting. Didn't realize there was one in there already. Alright, that's good news. Well, we're getting ready to permanently install that aluminum step, and I wanted to take a moment and show you what I really like about this Gorilla product. So this is, I don't know, about halfway used, and the last time I used it, what I like doing is leaving that little nipple on there, which is probably not going to do me any good for now, but if the glue hasn't dried for a very long period, you can just grab this little nipple and pull out the little plug, if you will. Let's give it a shot. Yeah, see, it broke. Okay, the longer it sits, the further back it'll cure. Alright, watch this. This thing here just unscrews. Sorry, had to use my teeth. Take this guy off, and it's not cured. So all I gotta do is clean out this tip, and I'm back in business. So I'll start by pushing up in that hole and try to push out the dried out goober that's in there, and then wipe it out with a coat hanger, and I'm ready to go. Okay, Mother Nature, give me a break here, will you? Starting to get a little bit of a drizzle. Jesus Christ. So I guess I'll just give you a status here. I mean, I'm just now ready to start. I've got my glove on, I got a little bit of a cut on this finger, so I don't want to get mineral spirits on the Band-Aid. So I got my mineral spirits, got to get my paper towels. Use up these things first because I freaking hate them. Alright, so there's my paper towels. I got Phillips screwdriver to hold the bolt screw head. I got my 3/8 drive, my 3/8 drive, drive socket, 3/8 socket, so I can tighten the nuts underneath. This little guy was harder than a coat hanger. You can see it's a little bit distorted because it's been months since that had last been used, so I ended up having to use a pin punch in the vise and then a rubber hammer to pound the plastic thing down onto it. Took me about, I don't know, 5 minutes of wiggling it back and forth before I got the goober out. So I'm kind of nervous right now because two things. Once I glue this in with that, it will take a nuclear bomb to remove that. So I need to really be sure that is going in now. And the other thing, I can't have it start raining on me in the middle of this thing. Okay, looks like that darkest part of the spot is blowing over. I think we're all right. Let's give it a shot. Sure, it would be nice to have a great big 40 by 60 foot garage.